Hi everyone, it's Cathy Ther here. Welcome to another episode of Cathy's Chats. Today's chat title is Positive Thinking, Friend or Foe? This chat came into life for me a number of years ago. If anyone remembers a few years back when there was a craze of self-help books flying off the shelf, they were touting 30 days of positive thinking to live a life of bliss forevermore. And the concept was just silence every perceived negative thought with a positive thought. So if you had a negative thought in your mind, shut it down, just kind of beat it down with a positive thought. It reminds me of that carnival game where I think it's called whack-a-mole. You have little moles trying to pop up out of circles, and you have a wooden mallet, so every time one tries to pop up, you're supposed to hit it and beat it back down. And so this is what it reminded me of when you have a so-called negative thought trying to come up into your consciousness. You take your mallet of positive thinking and just whack it down. So that got me thinking and questioning, are there times when we should really be paying attention to these so-called negative thoughts? Are they our friend? Is just trying to silence them potentially a foe at certain times? And so when I started to question, where do thoughts come from? Do we need them? Are they helping us? Why should we silence them? Right away I got an answer that it is potentially a foe, not our friend, to just automatically try to silence these perceived negative thoughts with a positive thought. Because we have this internal GPS system, we're all born with it. It's called our intuition. And so when our intuition interacts with us, what happens is we first feel it as an energy shift in the body. For me, I feel it in my gut area, that gut feeling. Some people say they feel it in their heart area, but I'm going to reference it in the gut area because that's where I feel it strongly. But our intuition, when it's engaging with us, first we'll feel energy twisting and shifting in our body, in that gut area. And in slow motion, if we have awareness of the energy, that's the first step. But that doesn't help us know and understand what is trying to actually tell us. So we'll feel the energy shifting, but the way it will connect with our consciousness in order for us to know what it's trying to tell us is by way of words, aka thoughts. And so we'll feel the shifting, and we might say, oh, I feel the shifting, that's my intuition, but we won't know what it's trying to tell us because it could be anything it's trying to tell us until it transforms into communication, into words. So for example, you may be driving along and you're about to turn right down a street. Suddenly you get this feeling, or you didn't feel the energy shifting in your body, but you got a thought, suddenly out of the blue, it seems, don't turn right. Well, if we are to follow the positive thinking message that we get, it would mean we take our positive thought mallet and beat that message down. That thought that came to us that said, don't turn right, we beat it down. No, with perhaps a positive thought being, I'll drive carefully, I'll be okay, I go down the street every day, it's the quickest way home, etc. So then you turn right, you're driving along, and bang, sure enough, you get into a fender bender, and you're left saying, I knew it. Something told me not to come down the street. That's your intuition. So that perceived negative thought, danger ahead, it's not a negative thought. It's your intuition, it's your internal guiding system. And it's something that's trying to help you, it's trying to keep you safe, it's trying to guide you away from danger. So that's the first thing that popped up as soon as I started to question, are there times we should pay attention to all of our thoughts, not just merely judge right thought, wrong thought, and then try to silence anything within our internal life. We have a thriving internal life that's trying to communicate with us. And so intuition, first thing that popped up. And intuition isn't always trying to, it's not always a critical message that intuition is trying to guide us to or away from. It could be, for example, a relationship. It could be that you started to date somebody and your intuition is engaged and you're getting messages that perhaps this isn't the right person, and we silence those messages by saying, no, I'll make it work, it'll be okay. And then down the road, there's a lot of heartache because it didn't turn out the way you had wanted it to. And so we get these messages just to help us, just to guide us into the right thing and away from the wrong thing. And it's such a gift that we have this innate GPS always trying to talk to us if we would only but listen to it and engage with it. Another time that intuition is just really informative. It's an FYI. You don't even have to act on anything it tells you. This example comes from my life experience. I had interviewed for a job a number of years ago, and they had told me during the interview that they would let me know the following Monday whether I got the job one way or another, yes or no. I said, okay, great. Come the following Monday, I was having lunch with a friend. I wasn't thinking about this job. It wasn't on my radar whatsoever. And we were having fun, we were joking and laughing, and suddenly, because I'm very aware of energy, I started to feel this energy shift within my body. And it was a heavier energy. So I questioned right away where it was coming from, because logically there was no reason for it. We were having a great time, my friend and I. Nothing was said, nothing was done that would make this type of energy appear. And so I got quiet and I asked this energy, because I could feel the shift, but I don't know what it's trying to tell me. So I engaged with it and I asked it, what is this energy? What are you trying to tell me? Right away, I got the thought, you did not get the job. I said, great, it was just an FYI. And as soon as I understood the message, that energy shifted, it was gone. And so sometimes intuition is just an FYI. It may be perceived as a negative thought, but it's not. It's just letting you know, hey, this is what's going on and this is what you can expect. Okay. So the second part of this story, though, is that I told my friend who I was with, I said, oh, I just got the message about this job. I said, I'm not going to get it. And she said, what do you mean? I said, well, I got the message intuitively. I felt the energy shift, and then I asked what it was, this energy shifting, and I saw the message in my mind. I understood it. And she right away, as society tries to do, even if it's well-meaning, she started right away saying, don't believe it, don't listen to it, change the way you're thinking, just be positive. And so I understand the meaning behind her message. It was well meant. However, these messages ultimately teach us not to engage with our internal life, not to hear ourselves, not to listen to ourselves, and not to ultimately trust ourselves, when really the message we should be sharing is go inside of yourself, really focus and feel the energies and pay attention to the messages and question, make friends with your internal life, because there's so much information we're gathering inside of ourselves. And so intuition, critical component, critical reason why it could be a foe, just to silence these perceived negative thoughts. So then I question, all right, is there another time, any other kinds of circumstances, situations where just silencing these perceived negative thoughts may be a foe? And again, I got an answer, which is there are many times where we may have this so-called negative thought loop just going on in our head. We try everything to try and silence it. We shut it with our positive thinking. And it could be a thought like this. And I'll tell you this one because this was a real life example for me. For the longest time, I kept getting this thought: you're not going to amount to anything. You're just not going to amount to anything. And I would try to silence it. Yes, you will. There's no reason for this thought. I'd get my, my wooden positive mallet and I'd try to silence it. Sometimes it would work. It would be quiet for a while, but then it always came back. Finally, I made friends. I've learned to make friends with my thoughts. So I got quiet and I asked, what do I need to know? Are you trying to direct me to something? Are you trying to help me? Because I tuned in and I knew there was no energy shifting, so I knew it wasn't intuition. So I questioned then, what is this? Where are you coming from? Right away, I got the answer. Well, not right away. A couple of weeks of doing this, of asking, engaging with this thought. Is there something I need to know? Are you trying to help me? Where are you coming from? Why do you keep arising? I'm trying to get rid of you. Why do you keep coming? It was a couple of weeks later that when I was doing the dishes and all of a sudden this memory just popped right into my head. I was in grade 3 and my teacher in grade 3 had said to me, you will never amount to anything. Now this teacher was a bully. But at that time, you're a kid, you don't know any better. But this message, you'll never amount to anything, it wasn't in my mind to hurt me, to torture me, to make me suffer. It was trying to guide me to an emotional healing. So a lot of these so-called negative loop thoughts that we have, they're not trying to hurt us. They're actually our friend. They want us to feel better. They want us to do better in this lifetime. And they're trying to guide us. And so by engaging with this thought as a friend, making friends with it, finally, I saw what I needed to see. So this memory came up. Now as an adult, I was able to look at the situation objectively and with clear awareness and understanding. That being, this teacher was a bully and that behavior wasn't okay. And it had nothing to do with me, actually. It was her behavior. But I absorbed it because as kids we do. And so knowing that, I was able to heal it and release it. And when you go through these emotional healings, those thoughts that you think are just tormenting you, they naturally just dissolve because you've had the healing. That event that happened in your past somewhere, you have now healed it and it's done. And that thought just goes. So rather than just try to push these thoughts away, go inside and make friends with them. Ask them, what are you trying to help me with? Are you trying to help me? And engage with your internal life because it's so precious. It's such a gift that we have. So intuition, and then trying to be guided toward a healing. These are times when these thoughts may be perceived as negative, but they are trying to help us. So I said, that's wonderful information. Now, when might positive thinking be our friend? And what I determined is anytime you have looked at your thoughts, your so-called negative thoughts, you've determined it's not intuition, it's not a healing, but you have this continual negative loop thoughts. The best thing to do is go back in your history, start in your childhood, and look at the environment that you were raised in. Was it a negative environment? Were people glass half empty rather than half full? Is it, life is always going to be dark and tough and your environment lacked a lot of encouragement? If so, then these negative loops in your mind, It's not that you're a negative person. You just learned and you adapted, you adopted negative thought behavior from your environment. And those are habits, and those can be changed. Habits can be changed. So when you look back and you think, oh gosh, you know what? Everybody was so negative in my house. And you're thinking, you're a negative person. No, you adopted behaviors and attitudes from other people and their habits and attitudes that can be changed. So again, these negative thoughts, they're not trying to hurt you. They can guide you and help you to do better. And so that's a great time when positive thinking then is your friend. When you look back and you see that you were raised, you're from in a negative environment, and then you can change these negative thoughts with positive thinking. Then your positive thinking mallet, you're not trying to hurt your negative thoughts. They are your friend. You just now, when they come to you, you give them compassion and understanding, but you can change the thought from glass half empty to glass half full. So that's a great time to use positive thinking. So I question, are there other times that positive thinking is our friend? Another time that came up for me that positive thinking is our friend is, of course, in times of stress, life situations. We're going through storms, life storms. When we're in the middle of a storm, we can't see the light. We can't see land. We're just in the middle of an ocean, and the clouds are dark, and thunder is booming, and rain is coming down. We can't see the end result. So it's very hard to stay grounded. In those times, positive thinking is a great friend and tool. So instead of saying something like, this is not going to work out well, switch it. Use the positive thinking. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I'm going to do my best to stay grounded and do the right thing and lead to, so that it does lead to great results. These positive thoughts at those times, they help shift our energy, they help to calm us, they help to ground us and keep us going. So that's a great time for positive thinking. Our life's storms, the non-fun situations that we go through, which we will go through. Another time that positive thinking is a great tool is in times of, physical unwellness. And what comes to me when I think of this one is my own life experience of having, these 24-hour brutal flu bugs. I'm not talking COVID, I'm talking the 24-hour flu bug. They hit swift and they hit hard. And there's times where, I've been down and out with that flu bug, laying on the bathroom floor, like literally thinking, not going to make it. I'm just not going to make it through this one. How can my body survive this? And I've had to get the positive thinking mallet really going good and strong, because even in the midst of some terrible symptoms and bodily reactions to the 24-hour bug, I've had to pull in the positive thinking to keep myself calm, to get through it, because you will get through it. And so I've had to say to myself during those times, this is normal. It's terribly uncomfortable and does not feel good at all, but it's normal. There are certain stages that the flu bug goes through. This is one of the stages, and it will pass. And so positive thinking, it helped me stay grounded, helped me get through it. And so, of course, positive thinking, there's so much place for it in your life. Another time that came up for me when I questioned, when is positive thinking our friend? It came up that many times we project past experience results into the future. So what that means is, for example, if we had a relationship that didn't end well, we might now put those results, project them in the future by way of negative thinking and expecting those same results. So you've had a bad breakup, and then looking forward, you're thinking, there's no point, these so-called negative thoughts, there's no point in getting involved or even trying to meet somebody because it never ends well. So we start to get those loops that we've projected from our past experiences into the future. So that's another great time to use positive reinforcement, positive thinking, by way of saying, well, okay, I've had some breakups that were less than desirable, but I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I have learned a lot about myself, about what I want, about what I'm looking for, about what I will accept, about what I will not accept. So I'm going into the next relationship much stronger and much clearer about what the needs that I have and what I will accept and won't accept. And so that's a great time, again, to use positive thinking, is so that you don't just accept these thoughts that came because of past results. And so it helps project future expectations into a positive light. And so positive thinking is our friend in so many situations. The secret is to make friends with your internal life, not judge one thought from another, this perceived negative thought. Don't judge it to be a bad thought and then just try to silence it. Our internal life, so-called good and bad, because there's no such thing, good and bad, they're just different. It's trying to help us, it's trying to guide us, it's trying to keep us safe, all of it. So it's critical to go inside of yourself. Make friends with your internal life because it's so powerful. Learn to engage with it. Unfortunately, we were taught at an early age, it's not just the self-help books, but we're taught at an early age to really distrust ourselves. I read an article about, it was an interview of a number of women who had escaped serial killers' clutches. Now, these are serial killers from different time periods in history, different places, different serial killers. So the majority of them had a common statement, though. So many of them had said that they knew it. Something told them not to go with the person. And so a lot of them were asked then why did you go with them when you had this feeling, when you had this thought? Why did you go with these people? And the same common answer came. I was taught to be nice. I was taught to give people a chance. I was taught not to go with first impressions. And so that's all great advice. However, we're doing a disservice by teaching children to override their intuition, because the reactions that we got as kids, that gut reaction, it was overridden by those messages, as well-meaning as they were. Because the meaning, of course, is, be nice little children, and that's great. We want to raise children to be kind and nice. But we should really be helping kids learn to engage with their intuition and then trust it. Because the most powerful GPS system we have is within ourselves. And so, positive thinking, friend or foe, both. All right, everyone, until we chat again, be safe, take care.